Hey guys, welcome back to the Totally Random Talk Show. Today we're back with another episode, and we've decided to keep the letter topic theme going. So we're on to H, and got some pretty exciting topics for the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. Treyson has some news.
So, with the new year, we want to try some new things. One, we want you guys to, want to listen to our podcast. So we're gonna make the podcast times just a bit shorter. An hour is a bit excessive, but hey, we have fun. All right, and then we're also gonna try to get like a steady thing going. Just keep doing things like this. And so I think that's it.
Yeah. So this might be the first episode of season 3. Nothing's really gonna change. We just wanted to make it feel like a fresh start. So yeah.
Well, let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
Letter H.
Ooh.
And take it away, Max.
Yeah, so our first topic is on harmonicas. Pretty interesting. Now, I don't have a harmonica, actually, but I know you do, Trey.
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty fun to play. Kind of like an accordion in a way. Yeah. I don't know. What I like about harmonicas is they're different from most instruments. Most instruments that need wind have knobs or stuff like that. Like a trumpet and everything has those 3 knobs that you push down to play different notes. And a trombone has a super long slide that you slide to get different pitches. It's kind of weird, but like with the harmonica, you just slide it in your mouth, I guess.
Pretty much. And it's weird because, it doesn't just play singular notes.
Mm-hmm.
It plays, a couple notes together
Yeah.
to kind of make what sounds like a chord. And then if you blow in, it makes a different sound than when you blow out. Weird. Really weird. But I like it. I don't know how to play anything on it, but I just pull out my harmonica once every 3 months, and I'm like, ooh, let's play with it. And I'm like, no, and then I just mess around.
Yeah.
And it turns out okay. It turns out decent,
Mm-hmm.
but not too good, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. See, I saw this on America's Got Talent. I don't know, that show is interesting, but there were these 2 guys, these 2 brothers, and they played harmonica, and they were really good. They play actual songs on the harmonica. Don't even know how they did it. And what's interesting about that is there isn't really a set way to tell what the notes are. Like on a piano, you can tell because there's always going to be 2 flats or sharps and then 3 flats or sharps in different parts of the piano, and basically each octave is a set of notes. But on the harmonica, how do you even tell what the notes start at? You have to figure that out somehow, but it's much harder than other instruments.
Well,
Yeah.
for my harmonica, it says
Oh,
at the bottom,
yeah.
there's the little slider things you blow into,
Uh-huh.
and it makes the sound, right? So there's a bunch of square holes.
Like the whistle, kind of.
Above those, it has C.
Oh, yeah.
E, F, G, A, B, C. And it goes all the way up. So, yes, it has the notes, but you have to, blow in the specific hole.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do that yet. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But I'm figuring it out.
I guess.
I mean, I can play other instruments.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Lots of
Harmonica,
instruments
I
are
can mess around.
nice.
Yeah. And also, this is kind of, well, no, that's not off topic. It's still the same genre, but everyone's always talking about how many instruments they can play,
Mm-hmm.
or what instruments they can play. But if you think about it, there's not really a specific instrument that you can play.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, if you can play just strum a guitar, then you can play the guitar.
Yeah.
If you just jumble up a bunch of keys on the piano, you can play the piano.
There's a big difference between playing an instrument and actually having a skill with an instrument. Because you can practice an instrument every single day to get really good at it and play complicated pieces of music, or you could just strum, just like you said, or play the keys.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I could say I can play every single piece of music but I can't.
Yeah.
But I can say I can play every single instrument, and yes, that's true,
Hmm.
but not. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's really weird to think
it
about.
is. I think, yeah, when people say they play an instrument, I think what they really mean is like they can actually play songs on it. Like they're not really
Yeah.
thinking about, oh, I can touch this instrument and make notes.
Hmm.
Like,
See, I
yeah.
think that what like generalizes I can play an instrument is like if you can play a song. If you can play a song, then you know how to
Hmm.
play to some degree. You know. So that's just how I think of it. It's really weird to think about,
Hmm.
is because anyone and everyone can play an instrument. It's just only certain people know like how to play songs and do cool stuff like that.
Yeah. And then there's also instruments like, can't remember what it was called. In band, the teacher mentioned it. It's one instrument where it's set up like like a piano is, where it's a chromatic scale of instruments that goes up from C to the next octave of C, right? But it's with cowbells. And I was like, that that'd be pretty nuts, because you could play a song with cowbells, which you don't really think about much because they're usually used for a beat. It'd be kind of funny to play like Pirates of the Caribbean on cowbells. It'd be funny.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, sounds so awesome when I picture it in my head. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then
Or like, what if you filled up a bunch of glasses of water? And,
oh yeah,
people do that, and they have it all going in an octave. What if you played them on that?
see, it'd be hard to
That
find
sounds so.
enough glasses that could give you the right tone, because they have to be
Mm-hmm.
big enough to fit enough water. But I don't know. Certain shapes make different noises too. So yeah,
Yeah, it's so cool though thinking about it.
yeah,
But yeah, I guess.
mm,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So harmonicas, not much you can say about them other than they are an instrument. And like people, yes, they play them, and some people are really good at it. But I guess it's like one of those underrated instruments, like the ones that you'd never really talk about as much, because not as many people in the world are like, when I grow up, I want to play the harmonica. Not many people do that.
Yeah,
But for the people that do want to grow up and play the harmonica, that's awesome. Because you're one of the lucky few that actually wants to do that, which is even cooler.
yep.
Because there's like a billion people that are like, I want to learn the guitar. And that's okay
Yeah,
too.
guitar is cool.
There's just so many guitar players.
Yeah,
So,
come over and play piano. Piano's better,
piano is
but that's
all
also
the
like
guys.
expensive and
Yeah.
probably the most played instrument, I'd say.
Hmm. Other than
Yeah,
guitar, yeah.
there's
Because guitar
there's
is
like a
very
set few,
popular.
of instruments everybody knows about, and those are the ones that are played the most.
Hmm. Violin is another one.
Hmm.
I feel like that is
Yeah,
played a lot. Maybe flute.
yeah,
I don't
and
know.
also
Piano is
like
definitely
all
one of
the
them.
brass instruments. Trumpet,
Oh,
usually, that's what people first think of.
trumpet is a popular one.
Um, yeah,
But
so that's basically all for harmonicas. So why don't we move on to our next topic?
ooh, mm, let's talk about ham, folks. I love ham. Ham is literally amazing.
Piece of ham and cheese, bread, mustard, mayonnaise,
You're gonna make me
couple
cry
pieces of
saying all this
lettuce,
stuff. I'm gonna
and
cry.
sprinkle some pepper on top. And you got an amazing sandwich. See,
Mm,
interesting thing about ham is it's one of those foods where you have no idea which part of the pig it comes from, and you do not want to know. So we just leave it at it's good.
And it is.
Uh
That's the
huh.
truth of it. See, there's a bunch of like, I guess when you go to the store and you see that giant sign that shows you all the parts of the cow, you know,
Oh,
it shows you
those are so
where each
gross.
part of the beef comes from. It's like here's roast beef, and over here we have our tri-tip, and over here now this is the juicy tender loin cut. You're like, oh cool, this is not gonna help me in my It's not like I'm gonna go kill a cow and chop it open to see where I want my meat from.
Yeah, and
Like I
kind of
guess it's
gross though.
helpful, but yeah, like you go to the store and you're picking out some nice juicy steak, only to find that the steak that you've selected is right where the butt is.
Bacon is from the butt usually,
Yeah, I love bacon. I don't
and
really
also,
care. Some people do
yeah,
care though, because they're like, "Oh, it came from the butt, so I don't
like
like
who
it."
cares?
But bacon got such a smoky and delicious taste, and I love it.
Especially when it's in moderation. Because if you eat too much bacon, you're gonna be a grease ball of just diabetes or something nuts.
It's like the
You
the
know,
one Studio C sketch that's like the bacon cleanse.
I'm trying to remember. I don't know why. Like, I haven't seen Studio C in a while. They switched casts,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been like just doing songs recently. I don't know. It's kind of weird,
Oh.
but used to be great. Yeah,
For those of you who don't know who Studio C is, go watch
it's
it.
on YouTube.
And they were cool about 8 years ago. They still are, kind of. I like Studio C. I've loved it my whole life. But I guess it was just like with the times, like 5 years
Yeah,
ago or something like that.
sketch comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy has changed.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
But
ham.
yeah, so honestly, pig is
Yeah,
amazing. You got your ham, and you got your Canadian bacon, which is also ham, but it's different.
different. Yeah, sometimes it's turkey
Different.
for some reason.
Emphasis on different. And then you got your bacon, real bacon. So, yeah,
And
definitely real.
and you also have the Disneyland turkey legs that look like ham legs. Seriously, those things are they taste and they look like ham. Has to be ham. There's no way. They just stick a bone in a giant piece of ham because if you took a pig leg, it'd be too big. See where I'm going with this? This conspiracy theory.
It's
The
right.
Disneyland turkey stick, turkey leg, not stick. What?
Turkey pig.
That would be a weird thing. It's like a kebab.
It's like
That'd be good. I mean, I'd
it
buy
would
it,
be.
but
You know, I
it'd
would.
probably
Anything from
be
Disneyland, I'm
overpriced.
buying it, especially
Some of the
churros.
food is like
Churro.
cheap. Some of it isn't. You know, it's like you have to decide what you really want to get because the food at Disneyland is always somewhat expensive.
Mucho price.
That's probably not correct Spanish.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
not. I do know the correct word.
What is it?
It is. Give me a second. I learned it
Are
last
you
time.
gonna forget it?
I remember the word for money.
Dinero. Yeah, when somebody sneezes twice. Yeah. Wait, no, 3 times. When they sneeze 3 times. First time is salute. Second time is what was the second one? Oh my gosh, it's health. What was that? What was that word? See, I'm trying to remember.
That's salute.
Salute. Wait. Oh yeah. Wait. Salute, and then it says.
Salute.
Oh yeah. Wait, and then it's dinero, and then it's amor, because love. Apparently, I was getting it all mixed up. Why was I getting it mixed up? Please don't hurt me.
Salute.
Spanish is interesting, muy interesante.
Muy
If we talked in
bueno.
Spanish for the rest of this podcast, it would be a dumpster fire.
estás?
Estoy bien, ¿y tú?
Sí, sí, me gusta. Y también mm, es un poco más o menos. Sí,
Sí,
sí.
pero, wait, a mí, no, no me gusta la tarea, or homework is our next topic. See what I did there?
Oh,
Big brain. I'm
tarea.
very bad at Spanish. My accent is terrible. Please, do not judge me.
Cuidado.
My accent is just always going to be that bad. Anyways, so yeah, homework. This is one of those things where it can be good sometimes, depending on what the homework is, because it can help you out. But at the same time, homework is not very helpful sometimes. It's more annoying than helpful most of the time. And it's terrible.
Yep.
What do you have to say about homework?
Well, one thing, I never have homework because I always do my work at school so that I don't have to take my work home. Be like, I gotta work on this. Oh crap. And then I don't do it because I'm off doing something else. And then I forget. And then, boom,
Boom.
test day. I'm like, oh crap, it's here. No, I never procrastinate. I'm always on top of everything. I'm always like,
Yeah,
do
I
this.
procrastinate a little bit,
So
but not too much.
yeah, every once in a while, you're like, I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to do this. So you don't. Hey, that's okay. Everyone procrastinates, and sometimes you have to.
hmm Especially when, like,
So
oh, for example, my homework for like math class or whatever is due on Friday, and I can do it tomorrow since we have like a weird distance learning thing going on. So then, like, I don't have to do homework today because I already had stuff going on today. I can just do the homework tomorrow. And it's not really procrastinating. It's just choosing a better time to do the homework. If that makes sense.
right. Yeah, see, homework, it's not a bad thing. Like, I get that, like, teachers want you to learn stuff at home, but I feel like they should keep all that
Mhm.
at school. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion. Is because, school already takes up a lot of your time, and just like that one saying that time is relative,
hmm
school is relative.
Yeah. Because you're literally in school for years of your life. You're basically your whole childhood. You're in school almost every day, except for the summertime and other breaks. But just like some teachers love homework and they love giving it out. Other teachers don't, and they all have good reasons. But I feel like less homework is better, especially when you learn a lot in class and then you have maybe like 1 page of homework versus like 2 or 3. It makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
See, and also it depends on the
Yeah.
class too, because like math, you're always gonna get homework, whether you like it or not. And I think it's just that choice of am I gonna do this or am I gonna wait till the
Yeah.
very end to do
And
it?
also your mindset too, because if you're thinking like, oh, homework again, like this math homework is getting so old, versus, ooh, I'm ready to finish this math homework, and then after I'm done with the math homework, I can go do something that I enjoy doing, and I don't have to worry about the homework. It's like different mindsets make you finish it faster or slower. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it all just connects back to the human brain, which is a convoluted mess, and I'm not gonna go into
Yeah,
it at all. So,
our brains are
but yeah, it's just
muy
cool.
interesante. See?
Sí, comprendo.
Um, our next topic, I don't know how to say this one in Spanish because I completely forgot animals. But our next topic is on horses. Nay, nay.
I love horses. They are great. One thing about horses that I think is fascinating is I am a history nut. Sue me. I like history though.
History.
History is
Yeah.
just cool to me. And so one thing I think is cool about horses, two things actually, two things, is horses were like, I guess every animal was
Oh yeah.
wild at some point, but horses were completely wild until they kind of took them over in Europe, and then they brought them over to the Americas, and they're like, check out this new thing. It's
Check
called
him
a
out. You
horse.
like my Mustang?
And then everyone was like, I want a horse. It's like if a bunch of people that have like really old 50s cars were all sad. And then some guy comes over and he's like, check out my 2020 Prius. Fancy. Look at this.
I like how you
So,
said
yeah.
2020 Prius when, well, like, there
Yeah.
are better cars, but it's funny. Like, it's a good car, and a ton of people have it. It's great. It's like, seems like with cars, kind of like horses. Like, there's like cars that people love. Same with horses, right? Like with horse racing and everything. There are like certain horses they have just for that, and like the like are they the Budweiser horses or whatever? You know what I'm talking about, right? Those huge horses
Yeah.
that pull the carriages, I think. Yeah,
Those things are
they're
mean.
just huge, tons of mass. So like, they're,
Yeah.
it's crazy because horses are so big. They're like they were basically one form of transportation before like cars or trains, and then it went slowly to trains. But it's interesting to think about that because imagine if like they gave everybody a horse. You just ride around your horse. You're like, gotta go to school, mom. You just ride off with your horse. It's like that'd be crazy if we had to do that today
Yeah.
versus like taking the bus or a train or something like that. It's way different.
Yeah. See, back in the day, people got mail by horses, and no one really talks about
Yeah.
it very much because it was literally just around for like I think 2 years or
Hmm.
something like that. It wasn't around for very long, but it was still decently
Yeah. They
effective.
did get mail around pretty
So
quick.
like, you know, it was the Pony
Yeah.
Express,
I'm gonna see how
and
long it lasted.
the funny thing is, we literally have a road right by where I live called Pony Express, and it's the actual road where the Pony Express is.
Oh, that's pretty
It
cool.
goes right through the mountain, and they have like a historical monument
Okay, you ready for this?
for like,
The
yep.
Pony Express was in operation from April of 1860 to October of 1861, so just over a year.
Oh, so it was
Actually,
less
wait,
than a year,
that'd be yeah, yeah,
18
18
years,
months.
right? Less
So
than
that'd
a
be
year.
6 months or a year and a half. I can't do math very well. I mean, I had math class today. What am I doing?
Wow, that's kind of
Yeah,
crazy to be honest. So I was a bit
mhm.
off,
But
but
around that time there were trains too.
yeah. Which is, by the way, one of the best
Hmm. It
inventions of
really
all time.
changed everything, especially since around that time too there was the American Civil War, which they a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that involved supplies. Both sides were just trying to use out each other's supplies, which is basically how the war was won. And the fact that they had trains and other modes of transportation that didn't, yeah, like
Just
steam
helped them
boats and
along.
everything, like they were able to get supplies faster, but they were also able to like stop supplies faster if you know what I mean, because that was
Mm-hmm.
one of the big parts of that war where they were just trying to cut off supplies, basically.
Yeah, and they also got Morse code
Yeah,
too at
lots
that
of
time.
interesting inventions because that's like the Industrial Revolution kind of era in a way, like right before it.
Yeah, I think it's funny because every single great idea that anyone ever had is an idea that everyone said
Yeah,
would never work.
like plane.
Like
Yeah.
the telephone, everyone was like,
Uh
"This
huh.
is never gonna work. It's never like you're never gonna get it." And then the light bulb, everyone was like, you've done this 1,000 times. You're never gonna
Hmm.
succeed. Radio. Don't think anyone liked that idea very early, like when it was created.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure. Um, Apple.
Yeah,
I think
Apple.
everyone was like impossible. Like what you're talking about is literally never gonna
And,
happen.
and like the internet itself. And I think it's interesting because with most inventions, no matter what it is, even like space travel, we're like, that's completely impossible. There's no way humans can actually do this. And then we end up knocking it out of the park. It's kind of weird to think about because if you think with the mindset that, oh yeah, we can do that kind of crazy stuff, then you wonder what we can actually achieve. Because there's so much more we can do. Like we just keep improving upon our previous inventions. Like if you just look at planes, now there's commercial travel all over the place. They used to be paper.
That's another thing
Yeah,
everyone said wouldn't
they
work.
used to be like wood and paper almost. Terrible idea, but it worked and it changed everything. And like one interesting thing too is war is a time for progression in a way. Even though war is very tragic, if you look at previous wars like World War II and you look at the different types of planes they developed and all the different types of weaponry and everything, and just the way everything worked, completely changed the way people lived. Like even just from years before, it's pretty interesting to think about because it's a lot like horses, where before people had horses, like they really just walked around, and then like transportation and inventions, technology just keeps advancing to where it gets better and better. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
It's so cool. Like I love history so much just because you
Hmm.
can talk about cool stuff.
Especially the inventions.
I can't remember who it was, but I think it was the Mayans. They
Yeah,
invented corn.
and
That
how
was cool.
like with some products, they'll say they're non-genetically modified, right? And the weird thing about that is
Hmm.
every single food we have is actually genetically modified because farmers will choose the best crop and they'll keep that crop, right? And they'll want to replant that crop versus the crop that is dead. So they're not even really
Hmm.
genetically modifying it on purpose, but it just ends up happening because we like to choose better food, better, like cotton or whatever,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it's weird how they
Exactly.
say it's non-GMO when that doesn't even matter. Yeah,
That's true.
that's about it for, I guess, went from horses to great inventions. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. But at least we got onto something
Hmm.
else. So that's
Yeah.
good. And now, would you like
Yeah,
to go
sure.
for us our next
So
topic?
our next topic, a lot of people have heard about this character, but some people, I don't know, probably don't like these movies, or they've also just never seen them. We're talking about Star Wars and the character Han Solo, who's played by Harrison Ford. So that's two H's, by the way. Yeah. Um. Hmm. See, I think the interesting thing about Han Solo is he's not really like a lot of other characters, even though he's kind of that stereotypical tough guy in a way. He kind of, I don't know, like he has good character development because you see. Oh yeah, there's gonna be spoilers, by the way. Uh, you see, like in the first movie, he just doesn't really want to do it any other reason than the money. And then by the end of that movie, he ends up going back to help everybody out to destroy the Death Star. It's like, man, character development. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I think one thing about like Han Solo is because we've all seen like Star Wars. I hope, you know. And if you haven't, that's okay. It's not for everyone, and I get that.
Yeah.
But I like it. So like it's interesting because Han Solo, like in the
Oh
movie
yeah.
Solo that they made for him, like the offshoot, you know, he wasn't necessarily like like a the guy that he was in
Yeah.
A New Hope, because like he was just a guy that wanted
Yeah, you're
freedom.
right.
That's all he wanted. But then like towards the end of the movie, they have the Falcon, and they're kind of just basically free. They can do whatever they want, but they wanted money, so they went to go work for Jabba at the end of it. But I think that's what like kind of changed him. He's like, I like money because I gotta
Yeah.
pay this dude off.
And how also when he couldn't pay it off, the consequences were his life, like a bounty on his life, And so he changed from like at the start of the movie, he had somebody that he was like in love with, right? Yeah. So he ended up like losing that person. Well, like not really losing that. I guess just like losing track of them, and that kind of started his path down. Like going to illegal options to try and fix his problem, and then also become free. So then by the end, he'd become more reliant on like he'd realized that the law and like the people that were abusing their power he didn't want any of that. So he like the stuff that he did ended up like changing his mindset, I guess you could say. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about because there is lots of depth even when it's just kind of like a run and gun kind of type of movie. I don't know. Pretty interesting.
I think most of it, is it's like most of what we know about every character in Star Wars is not from the movies themselves, but by
Mm-hmm.
the people that watch them. They come up with theories and stories, and they talk about the movies, and they totally like nerd out, which is totally me, by the way. I love Star Wars, but um, you know, like part of that is just the people too that like love it, because the movies are there to tell a story, and a lot of people just love it so much they get like you know enveloped in it, and they're like, I love this. So I think that's part of it too. And that's kind of cool, is because they
Yeah.
kind of add to the
And there's like
story.
dedicated YouTube channels where they make theories for Star Wars and they like play them out as stories, right? So they have like animations sometimes. It's kind of like how it should have ended in a way, but a little bit different. Like it's adding on to the story
Oh
the
yeah.
way they think it would go after what we see on screen. I think it's interesting because a lot of movies have that. I guess a lot of franchises, but that's what I mean. But Star Wars is different because they have such deep lore because there's lots of different types of Star Wars. There's the animated shows and the live action TV shows, like The Mandalorian. And then there's also the movies. And then there's all like these books or whatever. I don't know anything about the books. But apparently they're like some official
Yeah, me
books.
neither.
Like they're meant to work with the story and are actually part of it. Which I think is kind of interesting. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Star Wars left. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I could totally
Yeah.
nerd out about it. Like I love Star Wars, but I think it's just hard to sometimes because you don't know who's going to be like, I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's so cool. You know, I guess like
Yeah. It really is.
so I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's mostly it on
Interesting guy.
Solo. Not too much.
And there
Just
was a whole like
cool,
love triangle
cool
thing going
movie.
on for a little while until Luke, spoiler alert, found out that his sister was Leia. So yeah, that got super awkward really quick. Like in that movie, it's just oh, and then he became a Jedi, and he's like, all right, I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it.
It's so hard though watching all the
Yeah.
movies, just knowing that Luke and Leia are sisters. Like not no,
Yeah,
brother and
they're totally sisters.
brother and sister, brother and sister. Okay. Okay. I can talk. Don't worry. And it's just so hard watching all those movies,
Yeah.
just knowing what's coming. You're like,
Yeah.
the
That's why
cringe.
I rarely
Yeah.
rewatch movies.
So
I will sometimes, but rare occasion. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
If I
true.
haven't seen one in a while,
And
I'll watch it.
with most movies, like, there's a certain point where you won't really remember what happens, and then it's good to rewatch it if you really want to. Like with some movies where I'm not going to forget what happens in Star Wars. I'm gonna rewatch it sometimes, but it's like I won't just keep rewatching it, especially since I know what's happening. Anyways, yeah, let's get on to our last topic. We have, oh yeah, I have the random topic yet again. Every single time this happens. Now this is the only word today that doesn't start with the letter H. We did have Han Solo, which is 2 words, so but that one still counts. And the random number that it gave me was 106. So I'm going to turn into my Scholastic Children's Dictionary on page 106. Okay, we could talk about um comb, like that you comb your hair with, or combustion, or comedians, or comics, or
I like the
okay,
idea of comedians or comics.
yeah. What do you vote for?
Those would sound fun. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's
pretty
hard.
tough.
Mm,
Hmm. Um, I say we do. Sorry, I keep saying but I say we do comic books. Yeah.
okay, that's a good one. Because comic books were popular way back when, say,
Yeah, that's
30s,
when they
40s,
hit
maybe.
off.
Like, and then they just kind of just like exploded into the world. Everyone loved them, you know. Like the Marvel comics, everyone loved Captain America, because of the war
Yeah, it's
and stuff.
interesting to think about.
And yeah, and I was looking like some of the old pictures for like comics and stuff. They're like 3 cents for a comic book. I'm like, why can't
Yeah,
that be
and
2 cents?
now like the old comics that used to be that much are worth sometimes hundreds of dollars. It's kind of crazy. It's like
Yeah.
they've gained so much value since there's like movies for them. And
Oh
like DC and Marvel comics, and there's lots of other different comics too. But those are like the main ones you think of when you think of superhero comics. Those all have movies. It's kind of crazy because they make so much money.
yeah. And I think like there are those other comics, like not necessarily comic books, but like you got actually no, that's not a comic. That's more of a
hmm
animation and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I was thinking of Tom and Jerry, but I'm
but
like,
but still,
that's
it's
not.
similar. I get what you mean, like cartoonish.
Yeah. But like, I'm talking about like
Yeah,
Peanuts,
yeah. You're right.
like with Charlie Brown and stuff, and then
Calvin and
like
Hobbes,
Garfield, classic.
such a good comic.
Calvin and Hobbes, yeah, I love Calvin and
I'm trying to
Hobbes.
think of any others. There's a lot, and there's a lot of new ones too.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I don't know. Let me just here. Popular comics.
yeah. But like the basics of
Yeah,
all of them is they're just meant for
it's
laughs.
like
Like
a
that's all
graphic
they're
novel, like a
for.
picture book in a way. And there's even comics about like true stories too, which I don't know if those would be as interesting as fantasy or sci-fi ones, but they're good still to learn. Like there's lots of different types for everybody. Oh, and then there's also Dogman. Have you ever read those ones? They're weird, but they're good.
Classic. Like, well, not necessarily Dogman,
Yeah,
but
that's
like
true.
Captain Underpants, can't say no. You just can't. Every parent ever is like, no. But every child's like,
Apparently,
yes.
the most popular comic, um, okay, Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 129, right? And guess how much it sells for? The price ranges from $950 is the least amount to $12,000. That is not a price I would want to pay.
I'm sorry, I died right there. But you know what that reminded me of? That one part of
Oh,
the second
yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph
They have to
movie where they're
pay.
in eBay, right? And they're like, sold $400 a potato chip shaped like
So weird.
Beyonce. And it's like
Yeah, who
$400.
would actually pay for that? I guess, I mean, people would, but it's just weird how someone would sell that and people would be, oh, yeah, that's pretty interesting. And then there's Star Wars comics? Hold up, what? Yeah, after the movie came out, they made Star Wars comics. And they sell for like $1,900 sometimes. But it depends on, like, I guess the grade. I don't know what that means. I think that might mean the quality of, like, the actual comic itself. Not too sure. But anyways, I don't know. There's so many different types of comics. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so cool. My favorite though, like out of comics, is probably like the strip
Oh yeah.
comics. I love reading those. Like not necessarily the ones that come out of the newspaper because they don't really have newspapers anymore. But like if you get one of those giant Calvin and Hobbes books, you know, they have all the
Ooh.
comic strips from like
Yeah.
all the newspaper things. You know, they just throw them all in
Mm,
that book. Like the Garfield ones, they actually like I
probably
don't know about
Garfield.
Calvin and Hobbes, but I know that Garfield they list like when all of them came out and stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's cool to
yeah,
see. Yeah.
I think it's cool.
That's about it, right? We've talked for just over
Pretty much.
45
Not much
minutes.
else about comics.
Yeah. Hope you all enjoyed. And of course, stay random.
Stay random,
Yeah.
guys.
Happy New Year.
And
It's
Happy New Year.
2021. It's like the
Yay.
second. Well, 2022 will be 2020 version 2. Scary. Alright. I'm gonna go do random stuff because I'm random,
Peace out. Stay random,
etc.
etc.